Hello, Mr. Hawkins.
Wait.
Oh, yeah.
I got to start off by saying,
Yes.
now you know
Yes,
that
sir.
none of you all know that this is real, right? This is why I've claimed the title as the master of
Underground masters.
Pan-African occult.
Oh, this is true.
Because this is some mysterious stuff coming to you out of a book written by yours truly,
Odie Hawkins. And
cover designed by Zola Salena-Hawkins with her mysterious self. And what can you buy? Let's start off with that.
okay. Lovely, lovely. Go ahead.
Oh, you like that?
I like that. Go ahead. Tell me more.
Okay. I'm on chapter 7, and for those of you who've been following this meandering tale through the Shackles across time, you'll know that we're not asking you to pick up John Hope Franklin or Diop or any of the African and African American historians, historians, but just simply part of the story that is involved with this story, Shackles Lost Time. I'm on chapter 7, and I'm going to begin without further ado. I'm giving Alfred, I'm giving James, I'm giving all my friends an opportunity to light them up. Prepare their favorite liquid smokes or non-liquid, or should I say smokable smokes. Chester has been invited to the home of two professors who've been following his career and been following his talks about what they are about. So that's where we're going to begin. I laid us open at chapter 6, and we're going to take off from there to chapter 7. I'm going to come to chapter 7 in just a moment. But meanwhile,
Yes.
I want you all to realize that books are not written instantly. They're written more like the way that I'm turning these pages, which is slowly and
Deliberately.
carefully, hopefully carefully. The family has invited him to dinner, and while he's on a PR tour to sell his book, Odie,
Okay.
he accepted the invitation, and here's what they had for dinner. Cornish rock hens, wild rice, asparagus, a wonderfully tasty salad. We grow these greens in the backyard. A beautifully complimentary French wine. Cognac and brandy with grilled cherries for dessert. Sounds like my friend Fred Flowers would have put together for dessert. Cornish brandy with grilled cherries for dessert. These are grapes from the 99-cent store. Very delicious. What the hell? The way I see it, if both of us are working our buns off to try to live the good life, why not start with the kitchen? Chester leaned back from the dinner table to gently to study the Johnson family. Frank Johnson, professor, African American history specialist, 40-some years old, down to earth, hip, warm-hearted. Dr. Mary Quist-Johnson, ethnomusicologist, gracious, lovely, full of wit and sauce. What is y'all? Donald Johnson, the 18-year-old budding novelist who was fond of Scotch whiskey and esoteric plots, already lost in the magic world of the novel. Quist-Johnson, the martial artist, community activist, 17 years old. All African Americans are black belts, whether they know it or not. And the daughter, Tabula, a lovely name, a beautiful picture of on the wall. Where was she? Mr. Johnson? Mrs. Quist-Johnson? Oh, please, Mr. Simmons. We're at home. We're at home. We're playing old Frank and Mary here. Well, that makes me Chester. Great. They shared a table loaded with good humor, cheered on by the pleasant afterglow of excellent food, wine and cognac. Well, all I can say is thank you. Thank you for inviting me to dinner, or as the old toast goes, thank the Lord and bless the cook for all I ate and the rest I took. They laughed on the line for a few hearty seconds before Kojo cut in. It would be great to have you come to dinner more often. Maybe we could persuade Dad to go into his gourmet bag a little bit more. Mary Quist-Johnson held her glass up for a toast. I'll second to that. Please welcome her.
I gather.
They sipped their drinks, feeling cheerful, pleased with each other's company. After a few more minutes of the casual chit-chat, Chester was surprised to see the boys get up and begin to clear the table.
Wow.
Wow, seeing is believing. A couple of teenagers clearing the table. He took surreptitious note of the time. 7:30 p.m., time to split. What time did I tell Alan to pick me up? 8:30, 9? Chester, will you join us out on the deck? Sometimes we call it the porch. My pleasure. They took their drinks and strolled out onto the porch. Chester soaked in the view. The sun suddenly, quietly, slowly dripping behind the distant mountains of pine forest, carpeting the valley below them. He settled into a cushioned deck chair, feeling at ease for the first time in days. They exchanged smiles. There was no need to comment on the obvious. This is where we usually end our days. I couldn't imagine a better place. They were silent for a few moments. The mood was broken by Donald, the budding novelist. Sorry to disturb you guys, but I just wanted to thank Mr. Simmons for the great advice he's given me this evening. I intend to make good use of it. Appreciate you saying that, Donald. I really do. Meanwhile, as you advised, I'm off to do my daily pages. I'm looking forward to reading your latest as soon as Dad finishes it. Kojo joined his brother. Yeah, me too. Chester found himself unconsciously nodding his pleasure at seeing the two boys kiss their parents and go on about their business. This was definitely not the dysfunctional African American family that the mainstream media was so fond of glorifying. Well, where's the daughter? Where's Tabula? You have two beautiful sons. The parents literally glowed with pride. Yeah, they're great guys. Hard to believe they belong to us. Chester felt like asking about the daughter, but censored himself. If they did mention her, then maybe he should mention. Now then, Mr. Simmons, Chester to you, Mary. Yes, I begot to be informal. It's so easy, you know. The two men exchanged conspiratorial winks. The lady of the house, after a couple of after-dinner cognacs, was tipsy.
Well, hey.
What was I about to say concerns your book? Yes. Chester sat up a bit, keenly interested in her opinion of his work. Well, first off, there's a great deal to be said about the work. I know I'm going to have to read it a couple more times to iron a few things out. But I can tell you this. The thing that really got to me during the first reading of this course of the matter of the curse, that's been playing on my mind quite a bit. Fred Johnson tilted a serious dollop of cognac into Chester's snifter and hooked himself again. What is it, Mary? Or should I wait until you give me a chance to read the book? Chester, do you think it would spoil anything if no, I don't think so. Go right ahead. Mary Quist-Johnson's eyes narrowed to slits, and her expression became hard and bitter. The scene that takes place on the beach. A young man is being sold into slavery by my great-great-great-great-grandfather? May I interrupt you? She didn't answer. She simply nodded, her eyes focused on a distant point. How did you find out about yourself, your relationship to the trader Quartey? Curiosity and research drove me to it. I think all African Americans should find out as much about themselves as possible. I did research. Please, go on. The young man's grandfather places a curse on the slave trader for selling his grandsons. Frank Johnson, the African-American history teacher, placed his glass on a nearby table and stared intently at his wife's profile. And what was the curse? From this time onward, I condemn every third child born in your family line to be afflicted by evil spirits, deformed by nature, made to suffer for what you have done here today. The sun seemed to pause and slid down behind the mountains. Frank Johnson attempted to lighten up the atmosphere. Oh, come on, Mary. Don't you think you're being a little melodramatic? A curse? Chester, it was a literary device, wasn't it? I mean, it isn't something she needs to take seriously, is it? Chester pursed his lips, wishing he could push the whole thing off with one side. Well, as you both know, writers are prone to use poetic license whenever it suits their purposes. In this instance, I have to say, I didn't use poetic license.
Wow.
I have to say, I didn't use poetic license. Frank looked from one face to the other and back again. Whoa! Wait a minute here. Are you saying that this curse is real? Frank, to be honest with you, I can't say that it's real or not. I can only report what this guy in jail gave me. He was the third son in his family, and he never stopped telling me how messed up his life was, no matter how hard he tried to do the right thing. It's real. Mary spoke in a dull tone. It's real. Her husband stared at her sullen expression and tried to jolly her away from the negative. Mary, come on now. You're an ethnomusicologist, a scientist. Don't tell me you're going to take some kind of hearsay as serious evidence. It's real, Frank. It's true. Don't you understand? It's true. What the hell do you think is wrong with tabula?
Oh.
Chester was startled by the transformation that was happening. The woman suddenly screaming and the man staggered by her words. Frank, it's true! Damn it! I know it's true! Even before I started doing research, I knew it. Can you understand what I'm saying? I knew! Frank Johnson nettles his wife's head on his shoulders, comforting her. Chester felt awkward, out of place. He allowed them a few moments of confidence before he felt compelled to speak. Mary, you say you knew. How did you know? Frank gave her a napkin to wipe the sudden flow of tears away. She smiled at him and patted his cheek affectionately. Thanks, baby, I'm okay. How did I know? Well, it would be impossible to say exactly how I knew, but I would begin to suspect something strange was happening in my family years ago. Couldn't pin it down. I can't say that I can see a pattern happening. Nothing quite like that, but there were things happening. Whatever happened to great-grandmother Clara's third son? The one I found that was born with the head of a fish. The two men recoiled from the image that flashed through their minds. Who was the man, the third son of my grandfather, Milton, who castrated himself?
Well,
can you understand what I'm saying? These are the things that our family has never talked about openly. You mentioned your daughter, Tabula. Chester felt a sympathetic pain for them as he watched their heads droop. The man spoke in the saddest voice Chester had ever heard. Tabula, I saw this, Tabula, our daughter's nymphomaniac. A nymphomaniac? It sounded today to his ears like a medieval disease, like leprosy or St. Vitus's dance, a curse. Are you absolutely sure? Mary Quist-Johnson sipped her drink. And spoke with a bitter twist to her mouth. Yes, a certified 100% nymphomaniac. We had her checked out by one of the best authorities on this problem, a Norwegian shrink. He validated our worst suspicions. Frank Johnson turned to him suddenly, excited by the idea. Chester, you got to come. You got to come to the reunion in Chicago. Oh, yes. You gotta be there. Mary seconded the idea, reading her husband's vibe. Reunion? I don't understand. Mary Quist-Johnson began to blurt out the details. It'll be July 4, 5th and 6th. It would be well worth your while, I can assure you. Chester thumbed through his mental Rolodex. Let's see. I'll be in Atlanta on the 5th. I can fly up to Chicago. I think I can manage it. They were suddenly halfway back to the pleasant vibes that preceded the disclosure of the terms of the curse. Mary, Frank, I don't want to belabor your heads with this, but have you guys checked with other couples, other descendants, you know, about their family history, stuff like that? Chester, we don't know each other. That's the point of the reunion. When the brother in Chicago contacted me, I was stunned. Of course I knew there was some Quartey descendants in the States, but I didn't know where. In a way, I didn't want to know. I didn't want to know. It was a denial mode thing, I guess you could say. We've spoken on the phone, but I haven't asked how many children they have or if anything is wrong with them or any of that. The front door chime startled them. He checked his watch. 9:15 p.m. Alan Rich, time to get back on this track. We're at chapter 8.
Oh.
And that's where we are.
Woo! A curse.
Hope it's going well for everyone.
My goodness.
And that all of us are following the tracks of the Pan-African occult. This is not what's the name, Bela Lugosi and all of that. I think it's something deeper than that, because the mystery of mysteries came out of where we come from. And I'm going to leave it at that.
And the book.
Oh, the book itself.
Yes.
Where can they get this?
They can get it online through Author House or Barnes & Noble. And you can also purchase it on Amazon. It is an ebook. Your website is www.odiehawkins.com to see other novels that and radio plays that you have written.
I would beg you, please, whatever you do, stop buying these books so that I won't have to answer your questions, so I don't have to be involved with you involved. I would like a select audience of maybe 43, maybe 48. I don't care what the racial composition is. We're not into that. What we're talking about is Pan-African occult.
And he's
which encompasses the whole world, incidentally.
All right. Thank you, Odie Hawkins, with your odd sense of humor.
Grapes to you.
Grapes to you.